Hello everyone and welcome to the Chrissy B Show, the UK's only TV programme that's dedicated to your mental health and well-being. Now today we discuss the difficult relationship between infertility and a person's mental health. We hear from clinical psychologist Nihara Krause, who'll be giving us her advice to those who are going through mental difficulties as a result of infertility. Then I'll also be joined by expert Ashish Paul, who'll be giving her top advice for those struggling to get pregnant. Nutritionist Lily Soutter will be on hand to show us the foods that can help improve fertility, as well as rustling up a delicious recipe for beetroot hummus, full of antioxidants and great for improving fertility. At the end of the show, we'll be featuring Bonded Thru Cancer as our good cause of the week. Then with today's theme of fertility in mind, I'll be giving you my top tips on how you can prepare yourself for a big change in your life. Now, infertility is when a couple can't get pregnant despite having regular unprotected sex. Around 1 in 7 people in the UK have difficulty conceiving, equating to approximately 3.5 million people. According to the NHS, 84% of couples will conceive naturally within 1 year if they have regular unprotected sex every 2 to 3 days, whilst the likelihood of couples conceiving who have been trying for more than 3 years is 25% or less. Fortunately, there's now more help available than ever, but with 75% of all IVF treatment being private, it can be very difficult and expensive. Well, as always, we wanted to hear your opinions, so we checked on Twitter to find out. This person says, among women with endometriosis, up to 30% to 50% may experience infertility. Jenny is reminding us the importance of research into infertility-related diseases. She says, without endocrinology, I would not be expecting my first child. Jay shed some light on another side of the issue, saying, for NIAW, listen up. Infertility is not a woman-centric issue. Your male friends are most likely grieving silently. Reach out to them. Omawumni says, I'm sensitive to infertility now, so when I hear people berate a newlywed about having kids, joking or otherwise, I want to fight on their behalf. Elizabeth says, it doesn't matter if you struggle with infertility for 3 months or 10 years, it's still hard for any woman to go through. So this can no doubt put a huge strain on relationships, and so it's important to remember to look after our partners and remind them that we love them no matter what. Here we heard some of your opinions on how you can express your love to your better half.
Three ways to say I love you. What comes to mind?
Say obviously one, I love you. Yeah. Then a good breakfast in bed. And then asking how was your day.
A nice thing would be to get the other person something that the other person really likes, not that you really like. Like to arrange a picnic or something. And to just, a kiss also works. And to always pay attention on what is going on in the other person's mind.
Obviously saying it and then probably, like a kiss and a hug, yeah.
Okay, lovely. And how would you like love expressed to you?
Kindness, probably.
The best way to show it is to be like honest and to not make a big tam-tam around just how it is. And I think it's a feeling, yeah. And I think you also feel it if somebody else really likes you or loves you or not, so.
Maybe the breakfast in bed.
So now it's time to be joined by clinical psychologist Dr. Nihara Krause. Welcome back on the show, Nihara.
Oh, it's lovely to be back.
So you have been busy. Now, we did feature you in our news section. We were so proud to say our very own Dr. Nihara Krause has been doing so many things for mental health. Can you tell us what you've been up to?
Oh gosh, it's been a really, really busy time with so much good news, with, people, celebs coming through and talking about their mental health. Yeah. Prince Harry, of course, being one of them. Which is fantastic for young men, I think in particular. But my app, Calm Harm, the app it has been doing so well. So we've been finalists in the Health Tech and New Awards. And actually there's 5 more days left because it's being featured in the Design Museum in Kensington, which is wonderful. and we've been at the eHealth show, and it's been a really, really great time.
Wow. How do you do it all, Nihara? Because you're so busy.
Juggle.
You're so passionate about everything, aren't you? Which is wonderful.
True. Yes.
Okay, so a slightly different topic, although obviously related to a person's mental health. Tell us about the psychological effects on a person or on a couple when there is infertility.
I think you've got to trace the psychological effects all the way through the whole journey in a way. So, before a couple perhaps embark on fertility treatment, if that's their choice, they'd have gone through several, days, years of trying to conceive, and so you may have a couple who are feeling quite despondent, they might be starting to be a bit alarmed, they might be anxious, and then the whole process of following through with fertility treatment is a very tough process emotionally, and what it can do is it can increase levels of anxiety, it can make people feel quite unhappy. If they have a number of unsuccessful attempts that they go through, there's a lot of grieving, there's a lot of frustration, and it's not very good for a relationship, I'm afraid. It really, really affects the intimacy of a relationship. Sex becomes a little bit functional, and that's not great. It can start to affect self-esteem, and then if you have to go through and come to a point when you recognize that perhaps you can't have children, then that can lead to low self-esteem, it can lead to depression, it can lead to a range of difficult psychological issues.
Now, in terms of actually preparing to try for a child, and especially if a couple's going to have IVF, is there anything they can do mentally to prepare for that, or some kind of help that's available out there for them?
Absolutely. I think that I think thinking about yourself as a whole, so really looking after your mind as well as your body. So we heard a lot about things that you can do to look after your physical well-being, but certainly psychologically, I think if you are anxious or unhappy and you are perhaps drinking a bit too much or maybe neglecting your eating, then really trying to get those in hand would be really good. Doing things that de-stress you, perhaps doing some yoga or Pilates or some mindfulness. And generally starting to develop some positive mindset would definitely be helpful.
All right. And any kind of treatment that's available as well, would you say, for couples?
There's a number of different treatments that are around, and they range from traditional, NHS treatments. So the NHS fertility clinics, for example, will offer pre-fertility treatment counselling. They will offer during fertility and post. So there's counselling, there's a variety of recognised treatments from CBT to otherwise. There's alternative homeopathic and holistic and herbal treatments. There's acupuncture, which has got a very good evidence base. And of course there's a number of very wonderful charities that do amazing work in terms of supporting people.
Okay. Nihara, let's switch it now. So say if a person already has a mental health issue, but then they're also trying for a baby, a couple, what's the impact then? Does it make things more difficult, would you say?
Well, I think obviously again it depends on the mental health condition. So we know, for example, that depression has a very big impact on your sex drive. So the whole process then of embarking on some sort of fertility treatment can be quite difficult. If you have low self-esteem to start with, then that can really take a knock. It's not a very easy thing to have to go through in terms of that process. There is some research. It's a little bit, the jury's out a little bit on whether conditions such as depression and anxiety affect your fertility. Some of the research would indicate that it perhaps affects your fertility through affecting your hormonal cycle. There's some research that shows that things like prolactin, which is a type of hormone, is raised, that your thyroid functioning might change. But there's still research to be done on that level.
All right. But obviously the most important thing, as we always tell our viewers on this programme, if you are going through a difficult time, you are feeling a bit down, or you are going through a mental health issue that you know of, please also get the treatment, the help that you need, because that's the most important thing. Open up and talk about it.
Absolutely. Get as much support as you can. Friends, family, professionals, talk to people. Everyone's been through it sometimes. People will know and they'll support you.
Brilliant. Nihara, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to all the updates with all the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
I'm sure there's going to be loads more. Well, guys, after the break, we have more for you as we speak to fertility expert Ashish Paul. welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everybody, your TV program for all things related to mental health, well-being and success. So today we've been talking about infertility, and I'm delighted to be joined by fertility expert Ashish Paul. Welcome to the show, Ashish.
Thank you, Chrissy. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too. So Ashish, tell us, what's your background in this, first of all?
So I work with the field of fertility, but I ended up or landed in that through Ayurveda, which is my main work. Ayurveda is Indian medicine, many people know. So it originated in India, but I use Ayurveda, yoga, there is NLP, all of that is part of my work.
Okay, then. How did you get into that in the first place?
I think I was born or destined to do this because this is all I know. I only do Ayurvedic medicine, but fertility I've done even in the past, but I was doing gynae and obs before. So which was delivering babies.
Okay, all right then.
Now
so
I'm just helping people to get them in the first place.
Okay then. So tell us, in your experience, what have been maybe some of the effects that you've seen on a person's mental health by, trying to have a baby and not being successful?
Well, what patients tell me mostly is that it's a lonely journey, especially for women. Really, I mean, it really breaks my heart when I listen to that. But by the time patients do come to me, they have gone through so many various things because I do support couples who are going through IVF journey. Okay. So by the time they have ended up with me, which is generally not the first call for my work, but they have just exhausted everything that they have had. And they feel lonely, they feel really desperate and anxious. And also just you can say they feel low and depressed as well, especially women, because women have to go through all these treatments. Men only have to just the way it is, they just have to provide samples. So women have to go through all the injections, treatments every single day for months on and on. So we are not just talking about one IVF. It could be 3 cycles, 4 cycles, 5 cycles. I've seen patients with 10 IVF cycles. Wow. Okay. It's just goes on. And you become more anxious and you become more obsessed about that. So that's what I see with patients. And you can see that they're, one of my patients actually came yesterday and she said she is going through, I think, 5th IVF cycle now. And she said she was having nightmares. Really? Because she is about to have the embryos put back in. And because last one, she got pregnant, but then she lost it. So, which was really early stage, but according to patients, still lost it.
Yeah, still a loss.
And this time she would really like it to work because according to them, this is the last they're going to do in terms of everything, emotionally, financially, in every way. So I just really feel for them. But she's at that stage where she's so anxious, and the treatment she's mainly coming for is so that she can calm down.
Oh, I see. Okay, which is very important, as we heard earlier.
Absolutely.
Can you just tell us a little bit about the IVF side of things? What actually is it, and what do people go through when they do that?
So by IVF, we mean what used to be called test tube babies. So in vitro fertilization. So we take eggs and sperms out of the body, and then we mix them together. To put it really in a crude way, is to mix them in a test tube, and then it develops into an embryo. And then embryo is put back into woman at 3rd day, 4th day, 5th day, 6th day, any of those days, depending how far those embryos will go. And then woman is supported beforehand, during, and afterwards with lots and lots of hormones. Okay. So that's what IVF is in a nutshell. And of course, if there are issues with the man, then we have other treatments which go into, which we call ICSI, which is done specifically just to take the genetic material out of the sperm, and then fuse it with the egg. So this is for those men where the sperm count is really low.
Okay, then. Right. So Ashish, in terms of, obviously, if people do need help, they can come to experts like yourself. But what other things can they maybe do, at home on their own and things like that, just to help the process along, or even, try to keep a positive attitude towards everything?
What I normally say, or what Ayurveda says, is to start a year in advance, 1 year prior to when you do want to, because most of the people have a mental idea that, okay, we want to conceive this year or so because they're going through life, and then this year we want to conceive. So start a year in advance and prepare your body mentally and physically. So all the good things in your lifestyle, good exercise, no alcohol, no smoking for both partners, not just for one.
Okay.
Yeah. No tea, sugar, coffee, all the normal culprits that we have. Absolutely none, especially 6 months prior to when you are looking to get pregnant.
Okay.
And yoga is one of the exercises that I recommend. You also must do aerobic exercises as well of other kinds. And also cycling is a good way of also, moving these joints and pelvic area as well.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. Yes.
And pelvic floor exercises are important to bring the blood flow to that system.
Okay.
And of course, good diet. And I normally recommend organic, fresh foods and vegetables.
Okay.
And even within fruits and vegetables, the ones which are really rich in antioxidants. So we are talking about preparing that. And of course, I give herbs. And there are treatments, so they can go for massages, some relaxing treatments to really prepare them before, through, and once they do get pregnant. So, they must go through it continuously.
I mean, the way you're describing it, it sounds really pleasant. It's like something exciting and something that you really sort of put a lot of thought into, rather than sort of just say, come, let's just try and have a baby now. So it's actually really nice the way you're being prepared and sort of something really special.
Well, that's how it should be, because we are bringing a new life into the world. It's a new soul, and we need to be prepared, and your body has to be prepared, especially for a woman, because there are so many factors in getting pregnant. The egg has to be right, your uterus has to be right, your tubes have to be right, your natural body health has to be right, your mind has to be right. So all those things have to be correct, and then you get pregnant. So there are those people, that can get pregnant just at the drop of the hat. But we are not talking about those. We are talking about the ones who are struggling or struggle, or there has been history in the family where you know that your mother struggled to get pregnant with you. Then there are more chances of you getting at that stage as well. So we are talking about those people to really, and this is not only for women. Man has to equally participate. Okay. Because generally men feel either left out, even if they want to, or they just think, okay, this is your job, you do it, because they don't have anything to do much. So they both have to do it so that they can both, give good genetic material in medical sense.
So Ashish, one final question. How important is a positive mindset in all of this?
Hugely important, hugely important to really understand what is all this about fertility journey. And it could be just normal where they take only medications, but then eventually, the eventuality in that sense is IVF, which is really, it goes through so many things. There is something every single day you have to keep doing. So to keep that mindset and to keep going, one treatment after second, after third, so many that women go through. To keep somebody accountable for your mental health in a way, to have a therapist, to have a herbalist, to have a practitioner whom you can talk to. Because generally you'll find that people are not really comfortable to talking to their families. Most of them haven't even told their families that they are going through IVF treatments.
Wow, yeah, that's true.
So to have someone where they can go and really, have that sharing moment, not necessarily any medical ones, but the ones which are really healing ones. So people who can touch you. So therapeutic touch, I normally say massages are wonderful for that, because you can have something really relaxing. At the same time, you can share something with them.
Yeah, brilliant advice. Ashish, thank you so much. It's been lovely speaking to you, and thanks for all the lovely advice that you've given to our viewers today.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Right, guys, so after the break, do not go away, because we're going to be speaking to nutritionist Lily Soutter on what foods help with fertility. But first, a question. When is the best time in your cycle to get pregnant? Do find out after this quick break. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show, and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everybody. So before the break, I asked you when would be the best time to get pregnant. And though many people think it's on the day you are ovulating, a recent study by Baby Center shows the best time is a couple of days before, as there will be a healthy supply of sperm by the fallopian tubes. So now I'm delighted to be joined by nutritionist Lily Soutter, who will be giving me her tips on how nutrition can aid fertility. Welcome to the show, Lily.
Hi.
How are you, my lovely?
Good, thank you.
So is there a link between what a person eats and, getting pregnant?
Well, there's certain sort of foods and nutrients that you can look at to help fertility. I think the first one to look at is antioxidants. So antioxidants are found in all fruit and vegetables. They basically make up the colour of fruit and vegetables. So for example, beetroot is that sort of purpley red colour because of the betalain in it, and that's a great antioxidant. And antioxidants basically deactivate free radicals within the body, which can help protect the sperm and the egg.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and so free radicals can come from sort of radiation, so from excessive sunbathing, smoke, pollution, toxins, even high blood sugar, sort of infections or prolonged intense exercise. So we should really be aiming to have lots of colourful, fresh fruit and veg in our diet, filling at least half our plate with vegetables at every single meal.
Half.
That's just, at least sort of...
Not half carbs or half meat.
half vegetables. That's one area to look at. So folate is another nutrient which is really, really important for fertility. It's a B vitamin and it can help prevent the formation of spina bifida in babies.
Where would you find that?
Folate is a B vitamin, so it's mainly found, you can find it in meat, you can find it in whole grains, you can find it in pulses like lentils and chickpeas. Another area which we need to be looking at is things like polycystic ovaries. It's one of the biggest causes of infertility in women, and it's actually a hormonal imbalance where females actually have lowered estrogen levels and raised androgen levels, which are sort of the male hormone. And the most important thing to do when balancing hormones is basically balance blood sugar. So it's key to minimise sugar, minimise white refined carbohydrates, and make sure that you're getting in lots of protein, lots of healthy fats, and lots of whole grains into the diet.
So Lily, what are you going to be making for us today? Well, this is related to what you've spoken about, isn't it?
So today I'm going to be making a beetroot hummus. So we've got beetroots which are full of folate. So it's another source. We've also got chickpeas, which again are a folate source. They're also rich in zinc, which again can help with fertility and can help with ovulation in females. Sesame seeds or tahini, which is sort of a ground sesame paste. And that is a source of zinc as well. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to put the beetroot into the blender. So we just take one beetroot and we cut that in half.
And can you use the raw one as well if you want?
So you can use the raw one, and literally what you do with the raw one is you just need to cook it or steam it or boil it and then place it in. These ones have already been pre-cooked. So and then we put in 100 grams of chickpeas. So these are a great source of protein, a great source of fibre as well. Let's put that in. And then the next ingredient is garlic. And garlic is obviously, it smells, but it's also very flavoursome as well. So you don't sort of need as much salt and pepper as well in your dish. And then we also need some lemon juice. So I'll just squeeze in half a lemon.
Smelling good, and you haven't blended it yet. So.
Exactly. And then the next thing that we need is the tahini. So this is what's going to be very rich in zinc. And we just have 3 tablespoons in there.
Smelling good. It's quite dark, this one.
Yeah. So you get light
organic?
and you get dark tahini, and this is an organic tahini.
Just put that so our camera people can see.
And it's going to contain like a lot of protein and minerals. Amazing. And then you can add a drizzle of olive oil, and olive oils are very rich in vitamin E. And vitamin E again is great for fertility. It's an antioxidant, and it's actually a fat-soluble antioxidant. So we can just drizzle a little bit of olive oil in. And yeah, so if you want to add a little bit more flavour, you can also add a bit of dark dill, a bit of salt and pepper, and then you just blend it.
Alrighty, let's see. Right, so it's going to get a bit noisy, everybody.
Yes.
Here we go.
Perfect. Great. Okay, so it's sort of a pinky colour, which is coming from the beetroots, and you know that, and then that's really rich in antioxidants. And then you can serve it with vegetable sticks, or you could have it with crackers.
That smells really nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Amazing.
So, yeah, very simple, very quick.
Very simple. And again, for someone who does suffer from polycystic ovaries, which is this hormonal imbalance, then, you know, a beetroot dip is the perfect snack because it's full of protein, it's full of fibre, it's low in sugar, so it's going to keep blood sugar levels stable, which then has a knock-on effect to hormonal balance as well.
Okay. Now I'm going to taste that, but just before, Lily, I've got a few questions from our viewers. Now the first person is, it's not to do with fertility or anything, but this person's asking, I don't like vegetables. Can I just get all of my healthy food from fruits, or do I need vegetables as well?
Okay, so obviously we're meant to be having 5 portions of fruit and vegetables every day. From that, ideally 2 portions would be fruit and then 3 would be the vegetables. If you're over-consuming fruit throughout the day, you may actually be over-consuming sugar throughout the day.
Sorry, very nice, by the way. Sorry, yes.
Okay. So you may be over-consuming sugar. So, you know, fruit is wonderful. It's full of fibre, it's full of nutrients, it's full of vitamins and minerals, which we need for optimal health. But there is a reason why it's 5 fruit and veg, and I think a big focus should be on the vegetables, so we are not over-consuming sugar throughout the day, which is already a big problem. So
yeah, brilliant. Okay, next question. I lead a very stressful lifestyle. Is there anything I should be taking into account nutrition-wise to help me?
There are so many types of things that you can look at. So number one would be looking at magnesium. So when people are under stress, often they can be deficient in magnesium. So magnesium, sort of nature's tranquilizer, is a very, very calming mineral. It's utilised within the energy pathway. So making sure you're getting in enough magnesium-rich foods is going to be essential. So all the dark green leafy vegetables are very, very rich in magnesium. So anything green, you know, is going to have a great magnesium content. One other thing would be just minimising caffeine intake. So caffeine is a big stressor on the body. If you're stressed anyway, it's only going to enhance that stress. It's a stimulant, so it sort of puts us into a fight or flight mode, and it stimulates the release of adrenaline, which again stimulates the release of our stress hormone cortisol. Which is not great if you're already stressed as it is. If you're quite an anxious person as well, it's only going to make things worse. So you can switch to more calming teas like herbal teas such as chamomile, which are very it's a very calming tea. It's a potent anti-anxiety. Lemon balm tea, lavender tea, all these sort of natural teas are much, much better.
I think some people think that if they drink herbal teas throughout the day, that it's going to kind of put them in too relaxed and then they're not going to be able to work properly, but it's not actually the case, is it?
Not really, no, it's not. And especially it's very hard to get very high doses of that herb if it's in a sort of tea form, and it's very unlikely that someone is going to be drinking 50 cups of sort of chamomile tea a day. It's basically what we're trying to do is just get them off the caffeine and to get them onto something slightly different, basically. Whether that's a herbal tea or whether that's literally infusing mint leaves and sort of lemon in hot water, you know, it doesn't really matter. It's just getting them off the caffeine.
Okay, all right, good. All right, and one last person is asking here, I can't afford to eat organic food, but does it really matter that much?
Okay, so there are 2 ways of sort of looking at this. There's a lot of well-respected studies to show that, yes, organic food does contain more vitamins, more minerals, more antioxidants. But then there are other studies which are just say that this isn't the case. So there isn't really enough conclusive evidence to say either way. Obviously, if you're eating organic, you're trying to minimize the intake of pesticides and obviously chemicals. We're quite lucky because in the UK we're having to follow sort of EU legislations which are the strictest in the world when it comes to pesticides, and they're saying that, you know, all the natural foods that we eat tend to be under, you know, well under the safe limit and are very unlikely to cause harm. Saying that, if you're wanting to go organic, if you're choosing to go organic and you're struggling with the cost of it, which is very, very normal, there is a list of the clean 15 and the dirty dozen, which is sort of 12 fruit and vegetables which tend to contain the most sort of pesticides and chemicals. And those are the ones that maybe you want to choose as being organic. And then the clean 15 tend to be the ones which have the least sort of pesticides and chemicals. So, you know, maybe if you're struggling with the money side of things, then they don't necessarily have to be organic.
Oh,
so
that's such a good tip, Lily. Thanks for that.
It's a very sort of personal choice when it comes to organic or not. So
okay, well, Lily, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you so much. And if you guys have a question for Lily or any of our nutritionists, you can email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. Thank you so much, Lily. Well, don't go away because we have more for you after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show. Now, as you know, we are always looking for excellent good causes for us to feature on the program. And these can be companies, charities, or individuals who are doing amazing things for others out there. So now I'm delighted to be joined by Natasha Veeraswamy, founder of charity Bonded Thru Cancer, who've been doing some amazing work for those with cancer issues. Hello, Natasha.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
So now, before we get into your charity, can you tell us your own personal experience with cancer?
I was diagnosed myself with stage 3 breast cancer.
Wow, okay.
And that was February 2014, where I had my breast removed, reconstructed in the same surgery with a great team of surgeons, which was great. And through chemotherapy myself and another treatment for another year that took until about 2016, Herceptin, another treatment, and I'm here.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, so you've been through a lot, my darling, haven't you?
Yeah.
How did that affect you mentally, and how did you cope?
To be honest, I would say my mom was diagnosed, my mom's sister, my sister, then myself, 2 uncles and 2 aunts. So with that before me, all I saw was positivity.
Really?
Oh yeah, strength. So my sister fought for 7 years. 5 years of her fight, then I was diagnosed. So I saw how strong she was. And my aunt also said to me, you know, Natasha, make sure you get up, you get dressed, and you get it going, you know, because there's going to be so many down days, and you know, there's the look and the no eyebrows, the no hair, and you know, but they showed me a different way, which was, you know, get your wig on. So there was a lot of wigs I got to do. The eyebrows, they're still not back, but they're there. Yeah. So you do these kind of things, the eyelashes. Sometimes your nails go really black. So you can still paint over them. They're not always, not in everyone's case, but you know, I felt it was important that if you come in like the cat dragged you in, then that's what you're going to feel like. So it was important.
What an amazing attitude, all of you. Wow, that's such a,
so much more important that when you're going through something like this, to go the extra mile. And
that's why you're here today.
Thank you. Yes, because it is a mind, body, and soul kind of thing, and the mind is always spoken about first because it'll carry the physical part of you.
Okay, so now tell us about Bonded Thru Cancer.
Oh, Bonded Thru Cancer was kind of birthed from my hospital bed.
Oh, so you were planning things when you were there? Wow. Okay.
Like I was like, at first I needed to explain to so many people about what I'm going through, what I was going through, being diagnosed, because it's kind of, people don't know how to act when you are diagnosed with this disease. So some people cry on you, some people don't even say anything about it. So it was important to me. So for me to kind of publicly speak about it, I was looking for a name for Facebook. And I came up with Bonded Thru Cancer because the word.
Great name, by the way.
Thank you. You know, I felt the meaning. You know, there was the bonded thing because we need to bond together with this. Then it was through, and through made me feel there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and then the word cancer. So it was kind of either it was going to be positive or negative. But for me, it had to be positive, so the name had to be there. So Bonded Thru Cancer was birthed. And I felt going through chemotherapy, I saw so many people going through it alone. So I didn't quite understand how they were going to make it if they don't have support. So our core value is I created a buddy system, as we call it.
A buddy system.
A buddy system. So our buddy volunteers go out to the hospital, King's College Hospital, where we've started. They will sit with you through your result days, scan days, diagnosis, if you have no one. And most importantly, chemotherapy. Because I tell people, first and foremost, knowing what that feels like, that is so important. Cancer is the diagnosis, but when you start chemotherapy, it's so important that you eat because you're now fighting something else. And if you don't fight correctly, results at the end can be very, very different for many, you know. So they sit with you through your chemotherapy, chemotherapy. We make sure that you eat. We've affiliated ourselves with cafes and restaurants in the areas to give a free or discounted meal upon a loyalty card from us. And then we assist you with your travels home. So that's the core value of Bonded Thru Cancer.
Lovely. That is so
Thank
nice.
you so much. Yeah, it's amazing.
What kind of impact has that been having on people's lives then, Natasha?
Well, I'm still a buddy. I go out to the hospital, yes. So I'm so happy to see it. And I think it keeps me grounded, you know, not being in that whole CEO thing and then no one knows what I'm doing. I go into the hospital and I see how much it makes a difference to people. Where, you know, chemotherapy is one day, but sometimes you're in the hospital 3 times before chemo. You have to come in for this check, then it's bloods or flush the thing in your chest, or if you have it in your arm, the thing, I forgot what it's called at this moment. Then you do chemo. So you've been there about 3 days. Sometimes you're rushing out for the appointments. You don't eat. So when you have this kind of treatment, it feels a little VIP, I think. Right? Because I come up with the tray, we go down before we go for treatment or to your appointment and find out what's on the menu. So you get to pick that. And then by the time you're sitting down getting connected to chemotherapy, I come up with the tray. And then you get to eat, and then they kind of fall asleep sometimes, which is good. So, you know, it's kind of a weight off their shoulders, looking for food, running around the hospital, spending their money.
It's so stressful, and then just to have something like that must be so...
Very. It is very stressful. You know, this disease is taking people by storm. It's not an age, it's not a race. It's not a, you know, it's just, it's not male, it's not female, it's not a gender.
Natasha, if someone wants to become a buddy, what can they do?
They can contact me. They can, if they would like to see, sometimes I video blog a lot of this. So Facebook is one of our biggest, has our biggest audience, I would think. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram as well. But Facebook, you know, you get to see the journey. Sometimes you get to see what a buddy is like in the hospital and what we do. So they can contact us, have a look on Facebook, Bonded Thru Cancer, and contact me.
Definitely. All right, guys, so please do make sure if you want to become a buddy, or if you need support as well, they can also contact Natasha.
Definitely.
What about future plans?
Oh, would you like to know?
Oh, I would love to know.
Future plans, well, we got so much going on. I was away in St. Lucia. I just came in last night, and that was a trip given to me through what we do for the charity, what I do. And while I was there, we got confirmation that our headquarters opens in Luton.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Well done,
And our charity shop, Remodel the Runway charity shop, Bonded Thru Cancer, opens in Luton Mall.
Wow.
And hopefully we have Essex. I got a call today as well.
Oh, so exciting.
So yeah. So we're big on fashion as well, because it's about, you know, looking good, our slogan, look good, feel greater, fight stronger.
Wow, love it.
Yeah.
Natasha, thank you so much. You're such an inspiration, my darling.
Thank you so much.
Best with everything that you're doing.
Thank you for having me.
And do keep in touch and tell us how it's going.
Sure, I sure will.
Brilliant,
yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, so don't go away because we are going back to today's theme of infertility. And of course, it can be so troubling for many. It's a very difficult time. So I want to take the opportunity to give you my top tips on how you can prepare for a big change in your life. So let's get straight to these tips. My first point is, ask yourself why the change. So whenever you're going to embark on a change, you really need to be sure about it, or else you'll be constantly looking back. So if you decided to leave your job, for example, maybe to start a business, keep in your mind the reasons why you wanted to do that in the first place. Has to be there in the forefront of your mind. So when the going gets tough, you'll be able to work through those difficulties. Now, there was a time in my life when there was, going to be a major change, and I thought I knew what I wanted, and that was my plan had always been, once I finished my education here in the UK, that I would move abroad. I'd move to Cyprus, to my parents' homeland, and that had always been my dream since I was small. I even had a house already there from my parents. Everything was set up to start a new life there. But then I met my boyfriend, and actually, in my head, I was still thinking to myself, I'm still going to go to Cyprus and maybe I should just break the relationship up. So I actually remember the day that I went to my boyfriend's house and I was actually going there with the intention of breaking up with him to then move back to Cyprus and start the life that I'd always dreamed of. But then I realized, as we were talking and and everything like that, I realized that I was making the wrong decision. So I decided there and then to stay in the UK. I basically gave up everything and stayed in the UK instead. Now, that was a big thing because obviously I was disappointing a lot of people, including my family. My parents had to then sell the house, and it caused a lot of issues. Not just in my immediate family, but with relatives as well. But the thing is, I was so sure about that decision. It was right. I never regretted that decision. I knew I wanted to be with my boyfriend, and we've now been happily married for 19 years. But if, for example, I hadn't been sure of making that huge change, then probably I'd be in the relationship thinking, oh, maybe I should have gone to Cyprus. Maybe I should have just left my boyfriend and gone there and started my life. What if it would have been better? I didn't go through any of that because I was sure about what I was doing. And that is very important, that you really know in your mind if you are making the right decision, and stick to it. Stick to it and don't look back after that. The second point is to give yourself time to adjust. Now, I think people are really hard on themselves sometimes when there's a major change in their life, and they sometimes expect to adjust really quickly. Now, if you can do that, that's wonderful, but most people can't. And just recently I was speaking to a friend of mine actually, and she's had a major change in her life. She's moved countries, she's changed the type of job that she's doing. Everything is different. And we were having a chat, and she was being so hard on herself, saying, I would say beating herself up, even like she was kind of expecting to be all settled already and, doing really well. And I said, just give yourself a chance. You've just had some big changes, not just one thing. You've changed jobs, you've changed countries, you've changed so many things, and it's such a big change. So give yourself some time. You need to settle into a new routine. You need to get used to the new country that you're in. Take it easy. Don't get so stressed about things. And, I think that's really important, that sometimes we are very hard on ourselves and we expect to kind of just, fall into things really naturally and everything should go smoothly and well. But actually, it doesn't always work that way. We need time to adjust. So make sure you do give yourself that time if you are having any major change in your life. And if also something has happened that it's not been your decision, maybe you've lost a loved one, you weren't expecting that. So again, that also takes time. Don't try to move on really quickly and make other decisions and sell your house and all sorts of things. People tend to rush into things too quickly. Let yourself get used to what's happened and the change, and then start making decisions from there. And my third point is to make sure you keep in touch. So do talk to people. You know, a change in our life can become exciting at times, depending on what it is, but it can also be very stressful if we're unprepared. So make sure you do have that good social network around you, good friends, family members that you can speak to. So if things do get tough, you do have someone to speak to. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share, or if you have any comments about what you've watched today on this program, please do get in touch with us. Our email address is info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Until next time, bye for now. Among women with endometriosis cure says, among women with endometriosis. Jenny is reminding us the importance of research into infertility-related diseases. She says, why so many hard words?